Good evening, and thank you for joining in with us tonight. I am Tom Mercepke. Over the next half hour, we'll be learning more about Access Incorporated, and more specifically, the nutrition programs and how you can help out and certainly learn more over the next half hour. Access Incorporated is the community action program for Jackson County, and Access Incorporated has been helping Jackson County residents break the cycle of poverty since 1976. And joining us tonight are a couple people from Access Incorporated. Jackie Shadd, the Deputy Director. Jackie, thanks for being here. And Philip Yates, the Nutrition Programs Director. Thank you both for being here. Yeah. Very good. You know, a month ago we did one of these programs and focused on the housing. Tonight, over the next half hour, we'll be looking at the nutrition's program. And Jackie, we'll start with you, and I think you've got an overview of Access Incorporated.
Okay. Essentially, our mandate is to serve the low-income community in Jackson County. So low-income families and individuals, families of all sizes, senior citizens. We have special outreach programs and some special programs of assistance for senior citizens and for people with disabilities. And again, our mandate is to serve Jackson County. Now, just to give you I'm going to talk through a couple of our highlights of our programs here. 268 families we served last year with weatherization, meaning we went into the homes of low-income residents and did things like duct sealing or replaced roofs or helped them make their homes more comfortable and energy efficient, and helps to lower heating bills. Over 9,000 families with direct energy assistance. We actually pay utility bills for families on a one-time basis generally during the year. This is a federal program that we administer. About 732 families with housing assistance. That includes direct payments of rent, refundable security deposits to help people move into housing if they are homeless or about to be homeless. And also almost 7,000 families with food and nutrition assistance. And that's Philip's area of expertise. He's going to tell us about that in a little more detail. And then our special outreach programs for seniors and disabilities, we actually have outreach workers who will visit people in their homes, and if folks are having problems with family or financial or any type of danger, we'll help them get hooked up with the appropriate community resources so that they can remain in their homes safely, and that's an important service that we offer.
When people, I believe, in the community think of Access Incorporated, usually it's the nutrition or the food assistance, and I don't think many are aware in terms of the weatherization that you spoke of, the energy assistance, and the housing. You really do a lot for the residents and people of need in Jackson County. Yeah. All right. So tonight we are focusing on the nutrition's program, and Philip, what do you got for us?
Well, I want just to kind of start with an overview of the nutrition programs, talking about, it's our responsibility to develop, to collect, to store and distribute emergency food throughout the county, Jackson County, to low-income individuals who may be hungry, find themselves in difficult situations. We also provide nutrition education and information to help people make better choices in terms of their diets and their nutrition needs. Yeah. So those are the two primary areas. And specifically our Access Food Share Network, our program, is what's called the Regional Food Bank for Emergency Food Distribution. It's a statewide designation, and it's for Jackson County. So our job is to make sure that emergency food gets to all the people throughout the county specifically. Now that food comes through a variety of different resources. We're part of a statewide network, and I'm very proud to say that Oregon is the only state in the nation where all food banks across the state work together to help get resources to people all across the state. So if we have additional resources in our area, perhaps pears, and we have filled that resource, that need here in the valley, those pears can be shipped to other parts of the state. And similarly, potatoes from Klamath and Eastern Oregon, corn and different potatoes and things like that. So it works wonderfully. So we work through an organization called the Oregon Food Bank, and some people may have heard of this. And the Oregon Food Bank are also connected to a national food bank, Feeding America. So the food that we get comes, about 50% of the food we get comes through the Oregon Food Bank. A part of that 50% represents USDA surplus commodities, so farmers are actually paid by the government to plant extra food, and those extra food surplus commodities come to the food bank to be used as the basis of a box of food. Just before I go on, maybe before that, to explain some other aspects of Oregon Food Bank, the other parts that they get and we get from them are donations that are solicited statewide and nationwide. So they do that in a large form. Kellogg Corporation, large companies like that make large donations, and we get donations through that program too. And then they do purchasing in addition to that. So all of those resources account for about 50% of the food that we get here at Access. Locally, though, we pick up about 41% of the food that's given out locally. So we have volunteers, we have staff people that go out to stores like Albertsons, Fred Meyer, Costco, Safeway, and major stores like that, as well as food producers like Umpqua Dairy, Amy's Kitchen, Harry and David, who make generous donations as well. And that incorporates about 41%.
And that seems like a large number. I mean, it's nice to have that as a large number. How does that compare to maybe other areas, other states? Do you have any?
You know, I think we're very lucky here in Jackson County that we have the resources that we do. We have the Harry and Davids, we have the Amy's Kitchens. They're able to do that. We also have got a lot of help through the local orchards, donations of fruit. We also are working with local farmers as well to get an additional resource into the needs there, because the need keeps on increasing every single year.
Sure. Yeah.
The remaining 9% comes from food drives. And that represents probably about over 200 food drives throughout the whole year. And about 120 of those take place within the months of November and December.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, we're just coming off probably the largest time for that.
You know, so the hardest thing is to be able to sustain that part of it throughout the whole year, and to have food drives appropriately other times of the year when we need extra food as well. Yeah. So that's where the things we're always trying to motivate is people to have successful food drives to do that. So that's how the food comes in. That represents about 52,000 pounds of food that we distribute every single week. About 2.7 million pounds during the year. So that's a pretty huge amount, 25 tons every single week.
Yeah. Is that all housed locally?
It is housed locally, and you'll see it come in. If you come in on one Monday, you won't see the same product necessarily the next Monday. It'll go out so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be obviously quite a haul, literally.
Yeah.
And to get that out and get that distributed, how do you?
Right. Well, we do that through a network of food pantries in different communities, and we try and make sure that we have a food pantry that serves every community. We currently have 22. Here's a list of where they're located currently. And most of these pantries are sponsored by churches or organizations like churches. There's lots of volunteers. Last year, this group of food pantries distributed over 36,000 food boxes. And each food box is about a 5-day supply of food. Okay. And we try and make it as nutritious as possible. That's why we're pulling in fresh vegetables as well. Used to be years ago that we would have mainly non-perishable items, and now we carry perishable items as well.
Yeah. You know, with all those pantries, are people coming in to collect those? Are those taken into the homes? How is that getting out there?
Well, each of the pantries puts in an order of food from us, just like they would if you were shopping at a store or whatever. And then the pantry would come with a volunteer with their truck, pick up the food, take it back to their pantry, put it on the shelves, and then individuals and families come to that location.
Okay.
We track every single food box that comes, that is given out across the county. We are able to provide, we have enough resources to provide about 12 food boxes a year for each family.
Okay.
Traditionally, though, most families don't come much more than 5 to 6 times. So they only come when they really, really need it.
Yeah. you say the need is growing each
Right.
day. You're trying through education, in addition to your assistance, to get that going the other way. Do you see your education, your efforts in education and nutrition taking root or helping out?
It's a real challenge because the young people today, those young people that need assistance, are brought up in a culture where most of it, they go to the store and buy it already frozen, they put it in the microwave, and it's ready for them.
Yeah.
But we can't deal in that way. We rely a lot on donations, and also those items are not nutritionally sound. The struggle we have, a lot of the families are, I believe a survey was done just recently last year in 2010, where it was identified at least, I think 26% of all households that were served through food boxes had somebody with diabetes in their family. And obesity is also another problem that we're encountering. So it's malnutrition we're encountering. So it's a constant challenge to be able to provide nutritional information. We work in partnership with OSU Extension, and the nutritional volunteers go into the food pantries and do taste testings with maybe items that clients haven't usually tasted. It could be parsnips or things, fresh vegetables like that, or it could be some item that was donated, a strange soup that they may not like or have tried before. So,
in hopes of getting their taste buds to go in a direction.
yes, yeah, and to show that, yeah, even like a squash soup can be made delicious, by adding certain elements to it.
Yeah.
We had a group of volunteers not too long. We got a lot of squash this summer. We had a group of volunteers recently come in and cut them up, cook them. Philip was leading a brigade of volunteer cooks so that it would be in small enough packages that people could have some idea of what to do with it when they got it.
Yeah. And forgive me for putting it this way, in the food drives and the food donations, I'm sure a certain percentage of it is stuff that folks at home may be saying, well, this has been on my shelf for 6 months. I don't like it. Here, I'm going to pass it on that way.
Right.
So those that it's going for assistance isn't necessarily, they may be of the same mindset.
Well, we don't get too much of that, believe it or
Okay,
not. We get a
okay.
little of that. But most of what we get is
Okay.
usable and good.
Yeah, although there's, the fact is that in the canned food, there's a lot of high sodium levels.
Yeah.
And so a lot of additives are added in there. So we really want to push more nutritional foods as well. And so we're reaching a stage where in order to develop more resources to keep on filling the need, we have to look locally to do that. And some of those ways are through providing help through community gardens. And we've had our relationship with different groups in the county quite a while, one of which is the Rotary First Harvest Group, the Rotarians of Jackson County, who took up about 5 years ago and were donated a space at OSU Extension, about an acre of land. And each year that has grown to produce about 20,000 pounds of vegetables annually, which is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it's sustainable. Every year, we can go back and plant new seeds and grow new vegetables and get those vegetables out. So in seeing the success of that and the greater need that we have because of the number of people coming, we established in the last year 3 what we call community gardens.
Okay.
Well, actually, we call them food share gardens in deference to community gardens. Often when people use the term community gardens, sometimes people's thoughts turn to a plot of land that could be rented, and they would take care of that plot of land for themselves and take the vegetables themselves. This is different. This is a high productivity garden, relatively small, about 1/4 acre in size. But the idea is to produce somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 pounds from each of those gardens. And this year we started 3 of those, and they produce about 25,000 pounds in addition. And we plan to start 3 more this coming year.
I was going to say an opportunity to build on that.
Right.
Okay.
And people have been so generous in the community in donating land and donating water alongside of that to make these possible. So the biggest challenge we have probably more than anything is finding volunteers
Okay.
that have the time and the willingness to be able to come out and do that. We certainly want clients to come out and also learn how to experience and do some gardening for themselves. And part of the interest is we want people to come and they can take some of those vegetables away with them in the season, as well as supplying the food pantries as well with those vegetables as well.
Yeah, it goes without saying, these are obviously extremely important because they're sustainable and this is an ongoing source
Exactly.
going forward.
Right, and I think for me, the hope is that we can build community, that we can help people to take hold of a garden. So we have a garden currently in Rogue River. You know, my hope is that we can have the community of Rogue River to take ownership of that garden and support people in that community, all the people in that community.
And Access does provide the infrastructure for these gardens, the irrigation systems and the fencing and some of that kind of
Right,
stuff.
right.
We support the startup so that the volunteer gardeners really just get to do the fun stuff, pull
Yeah.
the weeds and
Right.
planting
And
seeds.
we're doing it in the most economical way by putting in drip irrigation.
Right.
So we're very conscious about conserving water as well. And these are organic farms as well, gardens.
So if someone is watching and wants
Yeah.
to help, stay tuned at the end. We will have information.
More information, yeah.
But you are
Yeah.
currently looking for land, and with it, and
We are looking for land. One of the 3 additional food pantries, gardens, is established in Gold Hill, so that will be one of the other 3.
okay.
So we're currently looking in the areas of Central Point and the Phoenix Talent area for the other 2 locations. So part of that decision is need, but part of it is the soil, the quality of the soil. So we're looking at that part of it too. So we certainly would encourage anybody that could help to be able to, we have a person that's dedicated to that. She's a AmeriCorps Vista volunteer, but it's specifically to start these gardens up. And so the information is on the slide to be able to provide that. Contacting and access.
Very good. Where do you say volunteers is probably your biggest challenge right now? Certainly if you want to get involved in more than just donating land, as we were just talking about, but in any way, call that number that's on the slide that has been put up. How difficult is it? Where do your volunteers come from, and do you solicit? Do you go out, asking for volunteers?
Oh gosh, they come from all walks of life. We have, the hundreds of volunteers, and we have obviously all the pantries are run by volunteers. But we also have many people who work in our office who help do things like pick up bread. We have professionals who are volunteering to do things like counsel clients. We have 2 mortgage foreclosure counselors who are volunteers. So at all levels of the organization, up and down, we're very dependent on the help we get from people in the community.
Yeah.
And that 52,000 pounds we have to move every single week.
Yeah.
We have to have help in repacking that food,
Exactly.
often, especially from the food drives, and when they're coming from the fields as well, to repack it into the appropriate size boxes and things like that.
Yeah.
And we have companies that will bring in teams,
Yeah,
clubs, service clubs, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts.
Right.
We even had some military, National
Oh,
Guard
the
folks,
National
right?
Guard, yeah, right, right.
Troop came in one weekend and packed food for us.
Very good.
Yeah.
What else is out there in terms of assistance in the community?
Well, one of the areas that we've been trying to, as well as increasing resources, on the other side of things, we have to concern ourselves with distribution as well.
Mm-hmm.
So part of our strategic goal has been to increase the number of food pantries in our network from 22 to 25. We've had a little bit of a struggle in doing that over the last few years. We've relied, as I said, on churches to be sponsors of that, and churches have been very receptive to helping. But the struggle has been that they haven't the space to offer, to put a food pantry in. As much as they would like to offer it, they just haven't had that ability to be able to do that. It may be they have childcare or some other kind of issue, other kind of service that they want to provide, and that becomes their mainstay. So what we've done was most recently, we've been able to purchase a mobile pantry outreach vehicle that we're going to use to do outreach services into the rural areas of Jackson County as well as the underserved areas. So part of its main function will be to be a mobile pantry.
Okay.
And we've had one of these years ago, about 20 years ago, that was, but mainly we could only serve non-perishables. And now this truck is kitted out with a generator, with 2 refrigerators and a freezer to be able to bring all the products that we would offer in a normal pantry. So we are starting this coming Monday on the 24th of January out in Eagle Point with our first mobile outreach there. They're very excited. There's about 15 volunteers. There's 3 churches coming together in Eagle Point to be able to help sponsor this and provide the volunteers that are needed.
Yeah, I'm picturing something similar to a lunch truck or something. I'm not saying you're offering lunch, excuse me, but I'm trying to picture this. There it is. Okay, the mobile pan.
Yeah, well, actually, if you picture a beverage truck,
okay,
like a Coca-Cola truck,
got it. Okay,
or a Mount Shasta
roll-up
spring water
sides.
with the
Got it.
roll-up doors. There's 5 doors on each side, and each of them roll up. And we had specific racks that were put in there. They're steel racks that are stackable, so we can forklift them in and out, and we can stack them on top of each other, so that we don't have to spend extra time if the food isn't given out that particular week, putting it back on the shelves and doing the whole process over again.
Yeah.
So our hope is to have another 2 other locations operating within the next 3 or 4 months, and to see what the need is as we begin to expand, and to look for partnerships in the community, not only access partnerships, but partnerships with other agencies that we can get services out there.
Yeah. Wow. So we talk about food drives and those sorts of things, and that being 9% of your source, and certainly majority of that coming over the last couple months. In terms of year-long programs or those sort of things, what other times of year are you able to get some kind of sustained, consistent drives going, or are you?
Well, obviously the holiday season is the easiest.
Yeah.
But there are traditional drives that happen in other parts of the year. In the springtime or early summer, May, the letter carriers have actually the largest food drive of all. Theirs is the largest in the nation. Every postal worker in the nation participates with this. And locally, it brings in about 80,000 pounds of food in one day, which makes it the largest food drive in the county to be able to produce that.
Huh. Yeah.
But there are other, other models around as well. Some people may have heard of the Ashland Food Project, and that's expanding to other areas, and we're involved in that. I'm involved personally with the Talent Food Project, and we're working with the Medford Food Project as well.
Okay.
So that we can get not only to the access pantries that are needed, but to other organizations that provide food throughout the Medford area as well.
Yeah.
So that's a model where it's an ongoing basis, so it's not just once a year.
Yeah.
So we're definitely looking at models like that.
Very good. Got about 5 minutes left. I want to make sure that we're hitting on everything.
Sure, yeah. And just, really about connecting with, if you are somebody listening to the program, watching the program, has maybe a church or an organization that would like to be interested in sponsoring a food pantry or a mobile food pantry out to their area, we'd love to talk to them. Specifically, we are targeting the Phoenix area, that we don't have one currently, a food pantry in. And also, we feel that White City needs another one out there. We have an existing pantry, but the need is so great that we feel as though we just need another pantry to relieve the first pantry.
Yeah.
And Tom, if I could just add, in addition to food, we'll be having eligibility workers travel with the pantry vehicle as much as possible, so that
Right.
people can have access to the other services or can meet and talk with staff about the other services that we offer. So we'll be kind of on the road in both ways.
Yeah.
We see also as possibility of serving all different kinds of ways to maybe the emergencies that might happen in the community. So we could take out food in need if someone was remote, it was kind of in a disaster situation.
Yeah. how do you determine eligibility? And or that's probably just a more complex.
Well, it really depends on the program, but it's largely based on income, family size, and various guidelines that come with the programs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's true of the food program as well. And we're serving about 7,000 families, but the number of people that fall into the category that we're serving is probably about 36,000 people in Jackson County.
Yeah. How do you get the word out to them and to get the people that are eligible into your hands so you can get them the assistance? That's got to be difficult.
Well, it's an excellent question every way possible, including shows like this.
Yeah.
Obviously, media, we put our information around in any other service points that people might come in contact with. We're in gas bills and electric bills and just pretty much anything we can think of.
Yeah. We've got about a couple minutes to go. I want to make sure that we're getting everything across that we need to. Half hour's a short time.
Yeah, sure. So I think just recapping,
Yeah.
The community gardens and the mobile pantries really are the outreach. On the one end, gathering resources to bring in to help feed people. On the other end, distributing as well.
Yeah.
So that's our major focus. But certainly there are plenty of opportunities, as Jackie indicated, for groups or individuals to come and donate some time. So if they just call Access at 779-6691 and ask for people, a volunteer coordinator or someone in nutrition programs, we'll be able to help them.
Very good.
Yes.
All right. And there you've got your direct number right there.
Right.
I think we've got a last piece
Is there one more slide? Or?
Yeah, to show. And one more. There we go.
There we go.
Jackson County. Our commitment to providing emergency services during times of crisis and providing programs leading individuals and families to self-sufficiency will never be lost. Access, helping people help themselves.
And there's that number once again, 541-779-6691. Well, we've been spending the last half hour talking with Access Incorporated about their nutrition programs. Jackie Shad, Deputy Director, and Philip Yates, Nutrition Program Director. Thank you very much
Thank you, Tom.
for being with us.
Yeah.
And once again, that's going to do it for us this evening. I am Tom Sepke. I appreciate you tuning in tonight. And really, if you have any information or any chance to volunteer with Access Incorporated, 779-6691. Thanks for joining us and have a good evening.
The fabric of a community can be found as people help others when they need it the most.
Never before has this been more true than right now in Southern Oregon.
With a hand up, Access provides over 37,000 food boxes throughout our pantry network each year, building a bridge to help through tough times.
Since 1976, Access has been helping. With your help, we can help even more.
Go to access-inc.org and see how you can help people towards self-sufficiency.